Ren from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today I'm going to share 10 more weird and obscure JRPGs. Let's check it out. Welcome back to a special episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game, and yes, we are back once again diving deep into just the weird and obscure. I'm telling you, one of my biggest fascinations and passions when it comes to gaming are just those games that tried to do something different or have just slipped under the radar for so long. So today we're going to be shining a light on these quality games and trying to just show them a little bit of much needed love. Anyways, if you like weird and obscure games or just any types of discussions on hidden gems for Nintendo Switch or JRPGs in general, then please consider liking and subscribing. It may seem like such a little thing, but I'm telling you, it really helps out the channel massively. I just want to thank everybody for all the support on the channel here recently. It has been so encouraging. But without further ado, let's shine a light on the weird and obscure. Undernauts, Labyrinth of Yomi. Now this is definitely on the obscure side. I will go ahead and just say, first-person dungeon crawlers are absolutely still a niche subgenre for JRPGs. However, this is such a quality game. Now for longtime viewers of the channel, you know how much I love the 7th Dragon series, and just the ability to create your own party, choose how they look. It's just such a wonderful, intoxicating amount of autonomy, and Undernauts hits that niche perfectly. I'm telling you, it's just such a wonderful kind of eerie game to crawl around across the different maps. I love the solid turn-based combat system mechanics here, but just the ability to kind of gear up for those dungeon dives, it is such a wonderful experience. And I'm just sad that as time moves on, Undernauts is slipping further and further into obscurity. Truly a masterpiece. I love this game. I hope we continue to see more from this developer. And it's just a shining example that first-person dungeon crawlers can not only still be great, but creepy and excellent. Undernauts, absolutely worth checking out. Now let's spice this up with absolutely the weirdest game on today's list, Seven Pirates H. Now I have to be very careful here and walk a very delicate tightrope because I'm not sure how far I can push to the boundary before YouTube just slaps me with a warning. This game is utter insanity. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said those words. Anyways, look, there are different exercises you can do in this game to get the characters to increase their power and their stats. Oh man, I do not. It was a mistake putting this on the list because now I have to explain it. Bigger Gazoombas equal bigger power, okay? I probably lost a lot of people here, and as you're rage typing in the comments, all I gotta say is this game is surprisingly fun. Okay, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's cuckoo bananas. Okay, this is as weird and obscure as a JRPG can get, and I want to tell you, I think as time goes on, people are going to look back at that Gazoomba game and be like, wow, that was a weird game, and that's why it's on the list. Okay, hate me if you want to, but Seven Pirates H, yeah, it's insanity, and yep, it's on the list. Now, one game that isn't so much obscure, but it is absolutely weird, and I tell you what, Vanillaware, when it flexes its muscles, it can absolutely just shine with ultra unique games. GrimGrimoire is a shining example of how they just kind of experiment with typical gameplay formulas. This is effectively a JRPG meets like a MOBA tower defense game where you have these different units that you control. Look, this is a gorgeous video game. I mean, it is absolutely breathtaking. It's a little difficult to get into initially. I will say the beginning part of this game is pretty just kind of like an onslaught of like trying to get your feet wet. Once you get into the groove of this game, GrimGrimoire truly just shines. And I'm telling you, Vanillaware, it is absolutely slamming, and it is why I am over the moon, so hyped for Unicorn Overlord. Depending on when you're watching this, that's a game they're creating, that's coming out in a couple months. I'm extremely excited for it. Vanillaware is just the king of unique to me. I love their games, and GrimGrimoire is one that I'm so late to the party to, but it just shines in uniqueness. It's absolutely weird and just kind of Crazy to think that somebody thought, let's make a single player JRPG out of a MOBA defense game. However, it works. I think it's fantastic, and everyone should give this game a shot. Now, longtime viewers of the channel know how much I love the Metal Max games, so I need to show some love to Metal Max Xeno and also Metal Max Xeno Reborn. Yes, this is a 2-in-1 entry, please forgive me. Metal Max Xeno is such an ultra hidden gem on the PS4. It's just an incredible post-apocalyptic world, extremely addictive gameplay cycle of building your own tanks, outfitting them with different parts and equipments to just take on different challenges and insane, trippy monsters out in the desert. I mean, you know, one minute you could be fighting a freaking dinosaur with a missile launcher on it, or you could just be fighting a giant ant the next. It's just absolute insanity. However, the character designs, the artwork in this is just so freaking good. It's a quality, addictive, fast-paced battle system. You're going to be in and out of combat. It's extremely fun. More people need to know about this game. It is so good. Fast forward a couple years, and they did a reimagining of the game with Metal Max Xeno Reborn. Now, we did cover this on the channel. It takes the same world and characters of Metal Max Xeno, but almost adopts like a Final Fantasy XII kind of real-time combat system where you'll be having a menu-based fighting system where you'll be running around whether you're in or out of the tanks, and you'll be able to attack essentially like you do in Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. But it's just extremely addictive and very unique. And I gotta hand it to this, it almost feels like they wanted to take and create a different type of game, but they wanted to keep it in a familiar, awesome, very epic world of Metal Max, and I really do love it. This is what got me into the series, and I've kind of been retroactively making my way through the back catalog. Now, I will say, I think Metal Max Xeno is the better game. However, Reborn is an extremely weird, unique experience. I think they're both absolutely obscure and deserve to have more love. Now, these are on multiple platforms. I do wish they were on Steam, at least Metal Max Xeno. I think it would do well with kind of modern day ports. That said, I really do love these games. I believe there is an untranslated PS Vita version of Metal Max Xeno, but you can still pick up physical copies of Metal Max Xeno for the PS4. They're great games. I love them. And yeah, just the artwork and everything from these, I think they just deserve more love. Check them out. Now, I need to show a little bit of love to Compile Heart. I know there's a lot of Compile Heart haters out there, but look, we show them love on this channel. And Dragon Star Varnir is an ultra weird game. I love it though, but effectively you'll be having kind of an arena multi-planed turn-based JRPG. Now, the story is very dark and dire, and it's very... I love how Compile Heart builds out these really mysterious, cool worlds. I just love their lore. I think they're really good at that. But what's excellent here is they also add in a very unique, weird combat system where you have these 3 tiers of combat and you'll be fighting monsters on different planes of battle. A really ultra cool game. And the character designs and everything is so on point here. This is one of their entries that I think has just kind of fallen by the wayside. I know that like the Death End Request games are really over with a lot of people who love these kind of JRPG Compile Heart games. However, I do think Dragon Star Varnir is just slipping into obscurity, even among obscure games. And I think that's a shame because it is a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out. You can still get this for multiple platforms. And I think it's worth, if you're not just immediately turned off by the Compile Heart kind of rough around the edges performance and whatnot, I think they're great games and they're a lot of fun. I don't think you're going to be wasting your time with it. And I really just thought it was cool to have kind of a unique perspective to turn-based combat, but you can expect to have just a blast exploring kind of creepy dungeons, over-the-top fan service, character transformations and combat. It's all here. It's a complete package, and it's a unique game, and I love it. Now, next up, we have Marenian Tavern Story. Look, this is a game we have covered before on the channel. This game is a deep-cut hidden gem. This is a tavern building kind of business running simulator game, which can turn off a lot of people. If you're not immediately opposed to kind of managing an inn and all that comes with a business sim, there's a really fun turn-based game here. This is a Kimco game, but I would argue that this and Blacksmith and the Sand Kingdom are kind of the zenith of their games. I personally really love this. I think this deserved a physical release. However, it is extremely charming. I love the character designs, and it's just kind of a wholesome comfort food game here. Now, I want to stress that this is not the highest quality of game, but it has really good sprite work. I love kind of the feel of just diving into this game. These kind of games, to me, I call them comfort food just because they make me feel good and they're serviceable, fun games, but absolutely obscure and falling into just complete the ethereal blackness of obscurity on the internet, and which is a shame. I hope more people can discover this game and show it some love. Let's show some love to the PS Vita with Lost Dimension. This is one of the first games I picked up when I got my PS Vita, and I was absolutely over the moon with how ultra cool this game is. It's a really intense kind of high stakes, high stress story where your decisions matter, but on top of that, you have this really fun kind of arena movement system. Now, I wish more games did this to where you control your character and move them around an area of battle in a turn-based setting. It almost feels like you're playing like a Valkyria Chronicles or something where you're controlling your character and moving around, and you'll have kind of reticle moves that you can perform on enemies. Your position very much matters. I like it when a game's difficulty curve incentivizes you to use the arena in the field of combat to your benefit. With the characters in this, you get attached to people, you're constantly distrusting. It's just excellent. However, being on the PS Vita, I think only hardcore JRPG fans know about this, and it's never going to kind of receive the respect and love I think it deserves. And really being a game that was published by Atlas, I kind of was hoping that with the Switch being so powerful and such a big hit, they could be digging deeper into their older forgotten games and just giving them modern ports. Sadly, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think Lost Dimension is going to be permanently exiled to the PS Vita, which, hey, I love it. It's just a shame not a lot of people are going to know about it. It's a great game and absolutely worth picking up. It has that Atlas love and polish to it. I love the anime opener and cutscenes and character designs in this. It's excellent. It hits. It doesn't deserve to be obscure or kind of on this list, but here we are. It's a shame. Now, keeping it to the PS Vita, we have Gigant. Yes, another first-person dungeon crawler. However, this game is so ultra weird and obscure. This is such an odd game. I'm going to be honest. I think this is a very fun, introductory first-person dungeon crawler, not an extremely difficult game. I mean, there are spots in it, but from just a basic conceptual level, this is not an extremely difficult game. It does border on monotony, but that said, I like those kind of games. Sorry. Anyways, you have this extremely cool animated turn-based screen. I love first-person dungeon crawlers, but I'm going to be honest, I always prefer being able to see my character and their animations. And Gigant has a shockingly detailed character animations for combat. But on top of that, you'll have this kind of timed rhythm-based system to supercharge your characters and unleash these devastating abilities. You'll be fighting giant monsters, and they just have this grand kind of like horrifying expanse that you'll face off against them. It's a gorgeous game. Absolutely gorgeous. Is it a little monotonous, a little easy? Sure, but I don't think that's worth it being forgotten to the endless epoch of time. It's a fun game, but again, even among the PS Vita, which is a very, kind of niche, tight-knit community, I think even this game is being forgotten. Very cool-looking game and serviceable fun. Now, ending off today's list, we have, in particular, one of my all-time favorite video games, 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. Here recently, I just did my top 10 favorite 3DS games. I put this game on there. So many people had never even heard of this game before. So if you're new to this game, I am so happy for you, because I'm about to introduce you to one of the most slammin', hip, fantastic forgotten obscure games in all of the 3DS. Look, now this is a long-running series. Yes, there's some untranslated PSP games for the 7th Dragon series, and there's even an older untranslated DS game. However, in particular, 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD for the 3DS is borderline a masterpiece to me. Now, I mentioned this with Undernauts, but you have this party building system where you choose your characters, your class, but on top of that, you get to choose their names, how they look. There is a romance system in this. You have such a bumpin', phenomenal soundtrack. Absolutely crushes it. Just banger after banger. Glorious, beautiful graphics as you just explore these dungeons. You fight different types of bosses. It can have some pretty good difficulty spikes in it, but I do want to reassure you that the difficulty curve on the lower end of the difficulty settings is extremely approachable. This isn't like old school difficult or anything like that. It's excellent. It just lands all around. And it is a crime against JRPGs for this game to just be slipping into nothing. And it's such a shame. Like, I love these hidden gems. I love these kind of obscure games. But it is kind of sad to think that these quality games are just being forgotten. In 7th Dragon 3, of all the games on today's list, it just breaks my heart that it is fading away. Phenomenal game. We'll keep the love and light and flame alive for these and all the others on the channel. If you saw today's list and you thought, hey, there's a couple of obscure games that he didn't mention, be sure to check out my first entry on this list. We put it out a couple months ago. I have a ton of fun making these. However, they're obviously not exhaustive lists, and I love making these. So if you think there's a weird and obscure game that deserves more love, please let me know down in the comments. I am continuously on the hunt for these kind of games, and I would love to showcase more. If you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing. I want to thank everybody so much for all the support and encouragement on the channel. It's so fantastic. Thank you so much. It warms my heart to read your comments. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.